Hey fellow waterfowl hunters, Eric Burns here. I'm owner of Bulls Outfitters here in North Texas. I've been in operation for about 10 years, but I'm not here to talk about my guide service today. I'm here to talk about the new Drake Waterfowl Ghillie 4-man blind. It is a blind that I believe Drake Waterfowl produced to go against the A-frame style blinds that are so popular right now. I have never been one to really like the A-frame blinds due to the lack of adaptability and because of the lack of top cover. There's no overhead cover or back cover really on these blinds. You can brush them in a type of way where you can have some, but in the world of guiding like I do, or maybe just in your group of friends when you hunt, there's always going to be that one guy who likes to pop their head out and watch the birds, and that's okay. We like to watch the birds. That's part of the fun, but there's times when that causes the birds not to work as well as they could have. So I feel like this blind, Drake Waterfowl, kind of assessed the market and said, hey, here's the issues with the A-frames. Here's a blind for the guys that want a little bit more, that want a little more adaptability for every condition, and to have that top cover and have a little bit more room. The A-frames are a little bit cramped. This blind is very roomy. So let's take a look at it. I purchased this blind at Rogers Sporting Goods for $429. I could not find a whole lot of information about this blind, hence why I'm doing this review. I felt like I was obligated after purchasing it to do a review of setting up and taking down and the pros and cons of this blind, because there's really not much out there. There's Drake Waterfowl's video on their site, and that's basically it. There's not really any reviews on this blind. So here I am. I'm not associated with Drake Waterfowl. I'm just a passionate waterfowl hunter and guide, and I hunt a lot during waterfowl season. So I put my gear to the test. So I'm not gonna hunt this blind yet. It's still September, but here's first impressions of the Drake Ghillie 4-man blind. Okay, so earlier I already took the blind out of the box. As you can see here on the left, the box does come with a list of all the parts that it does come with. I did double check it to make sure that it did come with everything. It does not come already rolled up like this. I had already assembled it once to make sure I could put it together for this video without any issues, and I rolled it up to see how well it would fold up, and I'll go over all that. The assembly instructions come with 5 steps. The first time you're going to put it together, I would highly recommend not putting this together the first time you're going to use it out in the field. You're gonna be running late for legal shooting time, I guarantee it. But once you get it figured out, it's going to be pretty easy to do. So, all right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put the blind together and show you guys everything that it came with and the features of the blind and some of the things that I think are the weak spots in this blind and some of the strengths this blind has, and also some things that I've done to make the blind more efficient to set up. So here we go. For this part of the video, I'm going to assemble it straight from how you would take out in the field. I'm not going to do any cuts. I'm going to just straight assemble it so you can see how long it takes me to do this. This will be the second time I've assembled this blind. So it probably won't be as fast as it will be once I do it several more times. Hopefully it's faster than the first time I did it. But every time you put something together the first time, there's always going to be those little learning curves. So all right, I'm going to do it from start to finish. When I rolled it up earlier in this black case that it came with, I didn't really care for the straps that it came with all that much. And this thing is not light. It is 50 pounds. So, and that's not even brushed. I have no brush, no raw feed grass, no brushing on this. This is straight out of the box, 50 pounds. It's not light, but that's good. It means it's sturdy. It's made out of aluminum, square aluminum tubing, which is really solid. I was really impressed with that. So I'm just going to unroll it here. Let me turn this like so. And there it is. It's going to be a bit intimidating the first time you take a look at this. So, all right. This is the pop-up top for the overhead cover. Go ahead and set that to the side here. And here's some of your, what they call wind panels. And our legs and frame. There's 2 sides here. and the back with has a support running through it. I'll show you that in a minute. Let's get rid of this. Alrighty. So this is what you're gonna see right under the package here. Is this? There's 3 legs here on this frame. So, all right. We'll start from here. All the pins are attached to the blind using PVC coated wire. So that's pretty nice. Right there, like so. It's a little clumsy at first, but all right. What I did on this blind is I labeled the inside of the blind where the panels go. It was not labeled when I got it out. Each individual panel is labeled, but where they go on the frame is not. So I just put some tape on there, and with a permanent marker, I just stated where each panel goes. So if you're in the dark having to put this together and scrambling for shooting time, you're not having to try to figure it out. Now, I will say some of these pins from the manufacturer are not fitting all that great. If I remember, that was the one that does not fit that well. I would highly recommend getting a file and running it through these to make them just a little bit larger, to make the blind a little easier to assemble. I can't even get this pin in completely. So you don't want to be fooling that for 5 minutes in the dark trying to get the fit. So I will definitely be going over some of the pins with a file. I would not use a drill on the aluminum. It would destroy it if you're not careful. Just a rod file would be fine. A filing rod. All right. This is really the most complicated part of this, setting this up, is this part of it. It does use a pin and hole system to keep the legs in place. So they don't wobble around on you. This one's a little stubborn. Like I said, if you just file these down, it would make them go in a lot easier. This one, just the fit and finish on some of this from the factory is not exactly super precise. So that is one of my complaints, is the fit and finish. There it goes. Is a little, could be a little better. The fit and finish could be a little better, not gonna lie. Alrighty, so this is gonna attach here, like so. And another thing I noticed too on this blind was all this square aluminum tubing. At the end on each end there's a plastic cap, and the plastic cap likes to come off, especially where there's moving parts. The caps for the collapsible, the pop-up top on the blind, they have all come off, so I'll have to glue them. You could probably hunt them without being on there, but they keep water from getting inside the aluminum tubing. Alright, so next, this actually goes on last, that's the back. And I'm not trying to go as fast as I can, but I'm not trying to go crazy slow either. Alright, these are the front portions. right here, and it'll say on the corners here, right front. And then I labeled on the blinds with tape and marker where each panel goes. I have right front right here, so in the mornings you don't have to scramble putting that on. And I'll go over some of the finer details of the assembly here in just a moment. That goes on just like that. There's literally screws sticking out the back that these just stick right onto. And the next one, like so. And around the back side there's Velcro that just attaches around these front legs. And then there's also buckles. And you can use these as front entrances here in the front. I'll show you that in a minute. And then next is our side. And this is left end. So I have left end written over here. And I think this side attached kind of tight. Yeah, right here I'm having to pull a little bit to get that on there. This side's not too bad. It's just this side of it gets a little tight when it goes on, and I'm not sure if that's going to cause issues later on the road with the amount of tension that is on the seams right there. All right, now here's our right hand panel. It's literally just an eyelet and a hook. Is pretty much all it is. Just like so. That's on. Okay? Now the blind's coming together. The blind's coming together pretty quick. Alright? Then we'll actually put this panel on last. Okay, this thing's a bit cumbersome. So we're going to spread these legs apart. I'll come around this side here for this. We're going to spread these legs apart like so. And then this is the middle that joins together. I'll just spread these like so. We'll do both of them. Sorry if that's off camera there. But they're just, I'll show you in a second how this goes in together. There's just, you see the pins going in through there on the sides. So that's gives it the ability to fold up nice and neat. Alright, and now the next side. Let's get it. Alrighty. Alright, those attached now. Now we're going to stick one end here. There's grooves for this. Another one there. And now that is fully attached. That is pretty sweet. Alright, fold that up. It folds up from both sides. Here, I'll just... This goes on. Like so. That just goes on with a simple square cutout right here on the blind, and that's all I simply did. And then here there's a rod for the back, and this will actually get dug in the ground. It's height adjustable. You can adjust all the legs on this blind for whatever elevation that you need them to be at for any terrain. Okay, now each corner of the blind, in here we have straps. These straps are on the interior. I'm just come around here and put these straps in, just like so. And those are all the way around around the whole blind. I wouldn't do this corner. I would keep that corner as my entry in and out of the blind. And wonderful front cover on this blind. Ready to go. That was it. That was the full assembly of the blind. I'll go over some of the features of this blind now that it's assembled. Alright, I want to take a look at the exterior of the blind here. It is made of a heavy duty 900 denier, it seems like. It's got all the stubble straps all the way down, and it even has pockets for the end of the stubble, which is really nice because on this particular blind you're not going to want to brush it in 100% every time you use it. You'll keep a lot of brush on the blind from where you're hunting and then supplement it every time you go out. I will be putting raffia grass on this blind. You can go to J.S. Stearns. I believe it's J.S. Stearns' website. They sell bulk raffia grass. I'm going to be buying a 33-pound bundle in camouflage for, I think it runs about a little over $200 shipped. You can get 33 pounds of raffia grass. And I'll be brushing this blind in and a bunch of layout blinds. And I may even get a second one of these. At the top also has the stubble straps, which is really nice, and also on the front. You can also go into this blind from here. There's a latch right there. You can undo the latch and you can walk out the front. I probably will not use that too often, depending on what we're setting up. But coming here to the back, this is the entry way here. Now we are inside the blind. There's their famous trademark. And it is quite spacious in here. You can easily hunt 4 people in this blind, without a doubt. And then you can see the top cover. We'll look at the poles. Here on the poles, they are height adjustable. You can go up. I have them 3 ways from the top. 3 holes from the top to keep going higher. So there's a lot of height there I can still add to this, or you can get them very low to the ground. These are very adjustable for any terrain that you're going to be hunting in, and this was one of the big features of this blind that led me to buy this. Really, it seems like Drake Waterfowl assessed all the current A-frame blinds and saw the weaknesses in them, and that is no top cover and not adjustable for different terrain situations, because not everybody hunts on flat farm fields or in flat prairie pothole lakes, so not everything's always a perfect situation. So this top cover is pretty sweet. It will flip up from the back, or you can flip it from the front, like so. Just like that. Super easy. It's not spring loaded, which is actually a good thing. I would not like the spring. Just like that. It does flip back very easy. You feel a little exposed in here when it's not brushed, but after it gets brushed, it will be quite nice. Here's the back panel. The back panel has this bar that's also height adjustable. Per the instructions, you will set it a little bit longer, and this is staked on the bottom. I was talking about the panels. All the panels are labeled with where they're supposed to go. And on this, I put on with tape and a permanent marker, I put left front on here, and another side I've got left end, and then on the other end corresponds with that side. When you're setting this up in the dark, that will be huge. This is the pin system for the legs. The fit and finish on this is not the best. Most of them went in with no problem, but I have 2 or 3 that are cumbersome. They will not go in all the way. I will have to get a file and make the grooves larger for them. The panels also have Velcro to go around the legs. As you can see here, you just simply wrap it around like so, and it will hold it on. It'll keep it flapping from the wind. The panels on the exterior also have loops for the stakes. Getting out of the blind is pretty easy. If you want to go through the back, you just simply pull this panel, and to close it, place it back in there. To go through the front, you can also go through this way as well. You just simply pull that pin and the doors will swing outward. So if everybody wants to get out at once, it's super easy to get out. Alrighty, walk around the blind here. It is boxy, that's okay. When you brush it in, you can break up those hard edges. There's the sides, and then the view from the back. The sun's hitting it. It's not very shiny. It's not a very shiny fabric, so that's good. I will be mudding this just like a layout blind. So, some of the things I do not like about this blind, you've already heard me talk about the fit and finish for the pins. That is one of them. Another complaint I have is here on these end caps. I said earlier in the video that these will come off. On these corners, these doors are supposed to swing out to open out the front. It's also a front entry and exit on the blind. What I find is that these caps on the ends will catch each other, and it will cause it not to open very easily. That also will, as you try to open it, they will pop off. So it'll be up to you to either file the edges on them down to try to give it a little bit more clearance, or just take them off. I'm probably going to file them down and probably glue them in so they don't, I don't get water inside the tubes if it starts to rain or they fall in the pond. Who knows what happens. My other complaint is here, even though the pockets for the stubble, I wish they would have not gone with this mesh. A lot of layout blinds that I have over time, this mesh will start to deteriorate. I just wish they would have gone with the heavier material for the pockets here instead of the mesh. It's just I would have paid a little bit more money in the blind to have had that feature. Another thing too is the stitching in the blind. I'm not super impressed with. I feel like they cut corners on the stitching. You can look at the stubble straps. It's just one little thin row of stitching, and then also here at the top, the stitching here is very thin. It's literally, I mean, it's almost like they're sewing a t-shirt. I've seen denim blue jeans with better stitching than this. The top as well. My other concern too is the top. I would not put cedars or any type of early branchy, pokey things up here, because it will tear a hole in this at some point. I would use grasses. That would be fine. If it's small, light cedar and it's not real sticky, we know. If you're just careful, it should be okay. Or even like a smaller willow. I would not put big, heavy branches on here. It is going to break holes in it eventually. The good thing is this material, if you do get a hole, is very easy to stitch later and tie back together, so you can fix those holes. And another cool thing I didn't show earlier is these straps. They're on 2 sides. You can tighten them so you can adjust the tension on the roof. So if you start to put too much grass up here, it'll prevent it from sagging as much. That was a great little idea. But yes, the stitching, not very fond of the stitching. I'm not very fond of the pockets and the fit and finish of the pins. I wish in the factory they would test those. I wish there'd be a little bit more quality control on that. I think it's a great blind overall. I hope that they can fix those little issues. I think this is a winner. Like I said, this fixes a lot of the issues that you have with other blinds that are out there. I've been wanting an A-frame blind for a while, but they were not very adaptive. This is a very highly adaptive blind for any given situation. So really impressed with it. I think it's going to be a winner. I can't wait to try it this season. I'm going to order some raw feed grass soon and brush it up. But again, here's the flip top, which is just awesome. There's the legs. One more thing I'd like to note too. The inside of this blind is the black, and it's the PVC backing. And I'm usually not a big fan. I usually despise PVC backing. At some point it will get weathered, it will deteriorate, and it will flake and fall off. This seems a bit different. It seems a bit more durable. So I am a little more optimistic with this material that they're using on this blind. Here, the panels literally just go over the top of the blind, and the ringlets attach here. And I will note, I'm gonna see how long this lasts. There's not a lot of tension here, but on this panel here, it is on pretty snug. You have to pull a bit, so there's a bit of stress on those ringlets. I wish it was a tad looser. I'm gonna see if there's a way I can fix that on my own. But all of the panels attach that in that manner. They simply go over. There's a bit of slack on the bottom of these, just like so, because there's more height. You can adjust this blind to be a lot taller. This blind would be wonderful for kids, because you can lower the front of this blind and they can reach out the front with their shotguns and have plenty of space to shoot out of the blind. So it's wonderful. This is a great blind for young shooters or small stature shooters. If you're taller, you can adjust the legs. You can even set this thing in the water. You can literally put this blind anywhere. Here's the buckles. You can close up the corners. Pretty sweet. I really like that. Those seem to be done pretty sturdy. And again, you can stake the blind into the ground to keep it from the wind. Whew, it is a bit warm out here. Sweating like crazy. Very humid. So I'm going to tear the blind down now. You guys can see how I tear the blind down. The tear down is super easy. I feel like with the more practice I get with this blind, I will be able to set up very quickly. And when I'm guiding hunts, I'm usually setting up several layout blinds. I believe in the amount of time that it takes to do this blind, it will be faster than setting up several layout blinds, especially once I have this thing brushed up the way that it needs to be brushed. It'll be much quicker, but everything's on a learning curve. So from here, I'm going to tear this blind down. Alrighty. I'm still trying to figure the best way to pack this blind, so bear with me here. All right, here we go. I'm removing the back panel. Set that there. I'm actually going to remove the pins from here, then tear it down. I feel like that is a little bit easier. Folds in half. You got to be careful here to make sure the material doesn't get caught in those over that metal. It'll start to pull and pinch it. These fold towards you, just like so. Set that there. I will unbuckle these. On Velcro. buckle. Now we can start removing panels. Alright, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to set that here. Just in case this stuff does start to get some abuse and start flaking off, I'm going to continue to store them where the backing is up against each other, so it's not exposed to the elements quite as much. The abuse of packing it up. Alright. Put that right here. Same thing, we'll flip this over. Put this other panel. Now I'm not having to bend over either to fold these up. I just lay them like this. Alright. I have to bend over to fold it up. Now for the frame, if you've got a friend helping you, I mean, if you're hunting out of a blind like this, you're not hunting by yourself. So with another person helping you, you get to set this blind up much quicker. These pins are coming right out, just like so. There we go, that's nice and tight there, in a good way. Fold. Fold. That's going to fold in half here. Forgot which order to fold these in. See, I'm still learning. There we go. Sorry about that. You know, this is a good time to say, while I'm thinking about it, I should put little notes on the legs. I should number them, so I should know which leg gets folded up in which order. So I would recommend doing that. Alrighty. Now I'm not sure if there's any specific way of putting it in to put it away, but this is how I think would be a good way to do it. Everything I just put away here. Set it right there, and it actually needs to go off to the side just a little bit. About right there. It's going to be kind of rolled up. And then put the legs like so. Alrighty, I got the blind back in the bag. You know, I have to say, the bag, it's not even really a bag. The roll-up system that they have made here with this it's not very good. I really don't care for it at all. I'm gonna use it, but I'm not gonna use the straps that they use. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bring some bungee cords or tie downs and just wrap them around that, and that'll be a much easier way of transporting it than having to mess around with this system they've got here. And I just noticed there's another end cap that just came off. That makes two of them just in the course of the video, so gotta do something about that. That's kind of cheap. There's the accessories that it comes with. In that package is 4 gun holders. You just clip onto the frame, and they have a little bungee in there to hold your firearm down. And then, of course, all the stakes to stake it down. On this wonderful satchel, or whatever you want to call this thing, there is a little accessory pocket for your stakes. Oh, I came into the truck to cool off. It is very humid outside today. I'm ready for fall. So my overall thoughts with the Ghillie blind is I really like it. It's overall, I think it's a good blind. It's going to serve its purpose for what I'm looking for. I'm really excited about the adaptability of the blind. I'm a little skeptical of how long it's going to last. The aluminum square tubing seems pretty solid. The joints are really solid. Like I said, there's just the panels. You know, they're not really going to be like a layout blind where they're going to have someone laying on them. There's not going to be much stress on the seams. So maybe that's why they didn't go with as sturdy of a sewing on those parts. It's because the panels just literally hang there freely, and then just buckled in on the corners. So they're not really gonna, besides brush being set on them, there's not really gonna be a whole lot of physical abuse on them, besides brushing them in and then assembling and disassembling the blind. That's about the only times they're gonna have any type of stress applied to them. The fit and finish could be a little bit better from the factory. So they address that. I think we've got a winner. Like I said, the things that are wrong with the blind, they're not really big issues. There's some things you can fix yourself. Overall, I'm really impressed. I can't wait to use the blind this coming season. I'm gonna try it out on a few hunts. If I'm really liking it and the performance of the blind is good, or I'm gonna purchase another one. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed the review. Sorry if it's a bit long. I'm just trying to cover everything. I am not sponsored or have any affiliation with Drake Waterfowl. I'm just a passionate waterfowl hunter, and I guide. I own Bullseye Outfitters here in North Texas. I've been in operation for nearly a decade. I'm really serious about having good equipment. I'm not real big on having the latest and greatest. I just like stuff that works. Duck hunting to me is a simple thing. Good concealment, good scouting, and getting birds in your face. That's all it should come down to, are those things. And I feel like that this Drake Waterfowl System blind is gonna help me accomplish that goal in the concealment department. So hope you guys enjoyed it.